The beginning of our movie introduces a girl named Nami. Like many girls these days, Nami never lets go of her phone, whether she's at work, at home, or anywhere else. One day, on her way home from work, she fell asleep on the bus, and her phone slipped from her hand. When she got off, she forgot it on the bus, and an unknown person took it. The next day, Nami woke up and couldn't find her phone. She searched all over her house but came up empty. When her friend came over, they looked for it together. Later, Nami tried calling her phone, and a woman answered on the other end. But we soon discover that the woman isn't actually a woman, it's a guy, the same person who found her phone on the bus. He was using a computer to communicate with her through voice recordings. Nami said, "Hi, excuse me, this phone belongs to me." The guy replied that he had the phone, and she could pick it up any time. They agreed to meet at a hotel so he could return it. The guy tried to unlock the phone but couldn't because of the passcode, and the screen accidentally got broken. Meanwhile, the police found the body of a girl who had been brutally murdered. When the detective saw the body, he suspected that the killer might be John's son, who had been missing for 7 years. We then see John's son, who turns out to be the same guy who found Nami's phone. He speaks with the detective's assistant, who says it's just a suspicion. Nami went to the hotel to meet John and get her phone, and we discover that her father works at the same hotel. Shortly after, John called Nami and apologized for missing their meeting because her phone had broken accidentally. He had taken it to a repair shop and paid for the costs, so all Nami had to do was go pick it up. She went to the repair shop, signed for the phone, and while it was being fixed, she had to fill out an ID form, which included entering her phone's passcode. During the repair, John installed a spying chip in the phone, copied all its data, and returned it to her. Now, John could monitor everything Nami did, including turning on the camera, listening to her conversations, and even making calls. Later, John went to the hotel where Nami worked and told her he's always there. Nami couldn't recognize him because he was wearing a mask. He asked her to bring him a specific drink, her favorite one. Through her phone, he already knew everything about her, like what she likes to eat, drink, and listen to, and all her habits. John sat down with Nami and explained that he works as a game developer at a software company. They chatted for a while and then left together. When Nami got home, she fell asleep while on a video call with her friend, while John continued snooping on her phone and learned even more about her. He opened his laptop and found a photo of the murdered girl gagged, then opened Nami's photo to make her his next victim. The next morning, Nami went to work, and we learned she works at a company. Her manager sent her a message saying that the company did well on their last deal thanks to her work, so her pay would be doubled, but she mustn't tell anyone. Meanwhile, Detective Waleed talks to his wife about John and says he knows John is communicating with him. When he doesn't get a response, he tells her that someone was killed a few days ago. At that, his wife breaks her silence and says, "There's no way my son did that." The detective then gets a message from a colleague saying they found John and know his location. On the other side, Nami is working on her project and is very happy. John goes to her house and starts searching, finding another phone she has, which means she uses 2 phones. The detective tells his colleague John's location, and the detective decides to go there alone. He searches the house, finds makeup tools belonging to the murdered girl, collects as much evidence as possible, and also identifies the appearance and location of the victim's mother. After that, John went back home again and realized someone was in the house. He quietly observed from the shadows and saw his father holding the makeup belonging to the murdered girl. That's when he knew his father had discovered him. John sent a message to his father asking to meet at a nearby location, but when his father left, John returned home and destroyed all the evidence he could find. He grabbed his clothes and went to stay at Nami's hotel. There, he told her father that he was an old customer, just like he said before, but her father saw through it. When he noticed his daughter getting close to John, he warned her, saying John was lying, that it was the second time he entered the hotel, and forbade her from dealing with him. Although Nami wasn't fully convinced by her father's warning, she agreed. Meanwhile, John was listening to everything they said through her phone. Later, Nami sat with her friend and talked about John. She said that if he just styled his hair a little and took off his glasses, he would look much kinder. Her friend got curious to know who Nami was talking about, and Nami told her. We then switched to the detective, who was heading to the house of the murdered girl's mother. The mother had told him earlier about her daughter's story. My daughter's phone fell and broke, so she took it to a repair shop. After that, strange things started happening to her. Later, we found her dead. The scenario was exactly like what was happening with Nami. Hearing this story deeply affected the detective, and he promised the mother he would try to catch the killer as soon as possible. Meanwhile, John called Nami's father and kidnapped him. Back with the detective, we see him standing with his team investigating the murder of 8 bodies at once. The sight of the bodies was extremely hard on him. The next morning, Nami woke up and faced a huge disaster. She discovered she had sent a lot of insulting messages to her coworkers and even to her manager. She also told her coworkers that the manager had cut their salary. Nami was shocked and didn't know what to do or who had sent the messages. She quickly got dressed and ran to the company, where her coworkers were very angry. When she explained she hadn't sent the messages and didn't know who did, they didn't believe her and kicked her out. Nami then went to speak to her manager, explaining she had no idea about the messages and that her phone might have been hacked. The manager got furious, fired her, and told her she could return only after proving her innocence. Feeling very upset, Nami went to her friend's house and told her what happened. She cried a lot in her friend's arms. At that moment, John listened to everything through Nami's phone and realized her friend was very close to her. He decided to create conflict between them. Her friend helped her go to the police station and file a report. She told the officers that everything had happened online and that they wouldn't be able to trace the culprit that way. Hearing this, Nami's friend got upset and left with her. Meanwhile, we see John sitting in Nami's father's house, having tied him up on the floor. He was also sending messages to Nami in front of her father, who was helpless and didn't know what to do. At the same time, Nami was sitting with her friend, trying to figure out who could unlock her phone. Her friend suggested getting help from someone experienced with computers and the internet. Nami called John, and he explained that her phone had been hacked. The person who hacked it could control everything through a program like the one he had, send messages, access the camera and microphone. He then pulled Nami aside and told her that whoever did this had to be someone close to her, because a phone can't be hacked this way unless the person already has the password. At that moment, Nami's friend was recording them while John and Nami were standing together, which shocked Nami. Later, Nami showed her friend a news report saying the police had found 8 more bodies. She didn't respond when her friend asked why, and in frustration, she finally shouted, "I suspect you! John said no one could hack my phone unless they had my password, and you're the only one who knows it, so it has to be you." When her friend heard this, she couldn't believe it. She said, "So the John you've known for 2 days makes you doubt your lifelong friend?" Then she left angrily, walking down the street crying. At that time, John was hiding and watching everything that was happening. He was extremely happy because his plan had worked to create a rift between Nami and her friend. The police exhumed all the buried bodies and began examining the items found with them. Once they finished, the detective's assistant contacted John's father and said, "You know your son is the one doing this. We need to act and catch him as soon as possible." The detective added that they needed to go to John's phone shop first. Meanwhile, Nami was sitting in the hotel, watching videos of herself and her friend. She got angry, threw her phone, and broke the screen. The detective and his assistant were able to locate the phone shop, but it was destroyed and John wasn't there. While searching, the detective found the data of the victims, including those who had died recently. He told his assistant they had to act quickly. Unexpectedly, the victim herself came to the phone shop to repair her phone and was surprised to see the police there. She then realized that John was behind everything that had happened to her, that he had sent the abusive messages to her coworkers, destroyed her relationships, and caused her to lose her closest friends. At that point, she was alone and decided to take revenge. The detective, standing beside her, heard everything. Surprisingly, the detective hadn't realized yet that John was a professional killer who had murdered so many people. All he knew was that he needed to catch John because he was dangerous. Nami decided to set a trap for John and called him to arrange a meeting. Once he arrived, she planned to notify the police so they could arrest him. The detective approved the idea, and they agreed to carry it out. Nami called John and asked him to come to her house to meet her. John had changed his appearance as Nami requested. He took off his glasses and cut his hair, and went to the house. However, the police were monitoring the place. When he arrived, they tried to arrest him, but since he looked different, they couldn't identify him. John pretended to be innocent and told them they were scaring him with their guns. The detective's assistant spoke with John and convinced him it was a misunderstanding, and they left. Later, the officers went to Nami, and she explained that John had cancelled their meeting because he was busy and wouldn't make it that day. She told them she would take her phone to get it repaired and use a second phone, and when she went to retrieve it, she would report John's location to the police so they could arrest him. At that moment, the detective received a call from the police station informing him that everyone there had identified John's son as the killer, and that he shouldn't return home because it was too dangerous. Nami swapped her phone with her second one, putting her SIM card into it. At that moment, the detective's assistant entered and warned her that her life was in danger and that she needed to leave the house. Nami decided to go to her father's home. The detective and his assistant escorted her there and gave her a card, telling her to contact them if anything went wrong. As soon as she entered, Nami called out for her father. When she couldn't find him, she started using her phone. At that moment, she received a message from John, and she quickly called him to find out his location. Strangely, John's phone was ringing in her father's house, meaning he was inside. Nami searched the entire house but couldn't find him. She tried calling the detective, but her phone kept deleting the number. She realized that John had hacked this phone too. Then John appeared from behind the couch and told her, "If you want to see your father alive again, you have to call the detective and tell him you're okay." 2 days later, Nami followed his instructions, sent a message to the detective, and spoke with John. She asked, "Why are you trying to kill me? What did I ever do to you?" John replied that he found her phone on the bus, learned everything about her, and chose her as his next victim. He then took her to see her father. When she entered, she was shocked by the sight, but calmed slightly when she saw her father tied up and gagged in the bathtub. John threatened to kill her father, but Nami said she would do anything to keep him alive. He told her to tie herself up, and she did. John then turned on the water to drown her father and pulled Nami into the bathtub, filming her as she struggled and laughing at her. After leaving the bathroom, Nami found the detective's card, which read, "Call me if something unusual happens." She sent him a message but didn't call. John realized the police were on their way, and indeed, they stormed the house. The detective pointed his gun at John's head and asked about his son, but John remained silent. Another officer entered and saved Nami before she drowned. The detective asked John again about his son, and when he didn't respond, he punched him and dragged him to the ground, asking a third time. Finally, John admitted, "Your son is the killer." The detective was shocked to learn that John's first victim had been killed by his own son, who had been committing murders in John's name, knowing all the details about John's family. Furious, the detective went after John to take revenge. John said, "What's up, boss? You're going to kill me? By the way, I'm still talking to your wife, and she's very attached to me. Don't break her heart." At that moment, Nami emerged from the bathroom, grabbed the gun from the detective, and shot John herself. Moments later, her father regained consciousness, and the detective's assistant saved him. Nami ran to her father and hugged him, and they were taken to the hospital for her injuries. News spread that a hacker serial killer had been murdering people via the internet, but he was now dead. In the final scene of the film, we see Nami sitting with her father and her friend, while a stranger is filming them, marking the end of the movie. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.